Give us the words that we need to reach millions of children. People keep working through us to help and inspire and
elevate from where we're actually at. What's going on, y'all? This is the Broken Baby Podcast, The Movement. My name is Carr.
And I'm Nay.
And this is mental illness. We're talking about mental illness. This is a very major thing in today's culture, especially growing up in the broken homes and inner cities. So, y'all, I just want to break down a few facts for y'all before we even get started, right? 1 out of 5 kids from 10 years old to 18 deal with mental illness. 1 out of 6 of these juveniles deal with major depression, major illnesses as far as schizophrenia, bipolar, that sort of thing. But there's another statistic that I want to show y'all, tell y'all is 1 out of 20 people in all, not just juveniles, not just men, not just women. 1 out of 20 people deal with major depression, major mental illness, and major mental condition. So I want y'all to understand the seriousness of this topic as we break it down, right? And want y'all to understand that there's steps and there's help for y'all to go out there and get as far as the help that you need with your mental health. So yeah, Nate, that's pretty much the topic. What do you feel about mental health?
I feel like, over the years there's been a huge inflation, and I feel there's many factors that go into that, and we've talked about in the past about being more proactive in our mental health, and that is something that can help people being more proactive and taking care of themselves. But as you spoke on more serious and more severe mental illnesses, because I like to separate when I speak about it, I like to separate mental illness from mental health as a whole, because when I talk about mental health, it's like our mental state of mind. You can have be in a depressed state of mind, but not be clinically diagnosed with depression.
Okay.
And self-diagnosis is not something you want to fall into. When we talk about mental illness, we're talking more about the actual diagnosed illnesses, the ones that have been described or been that have been diagnosed by a physician. So like me, I was diagnosed with I'm manic depressant. So in essence, they say that's a fancy way to say bipolar. So you have bipolar, and then you have manic. And manic, the way that I describe my manic episodes is there's manic and there's mania. Manic is like extreme highs, mania is extreme lows. Usually, most people who have manic, it's followed by mania. And me, I really just I used to experience the downs, but I really experience like extreme highs sometimes.
Okay.
So the way I explain it is, it's like, you ever seen a kid play basketball and they're dribbling the ball, their legs are moving way faster than they can dribble the ball, so they're running and the ball's behind them.
Right.
That's kind of how it is. It's like equivalent to like ADHD. Like you just have you're real energized, like supercharged up.
Your mind's moving faster than your body.
It's like your thoughts are It's like you're not processing everything that's going through your mind, because of the speed that it's going at. It's sometimes overwhelming, but I've kind of learned how to control it, slow down my thoughts, over the years of dealing with it. It's not something that is, to me, it's not as bad as it could be or as bad as it seems. I feel like it's something that is misunderstood sometimes. Like, don't get me wrong, like, I could be a headache sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, but it's just because sometimes if I'm having the manic episodes, I'm real charged up. I
love that though. I think that excitement, I would call that excitement in the sense of like you got to feel excited about certain things, but there is a balance, like you said, there is somewhere to come, like being steadfast more than being either super high or super low.
Yeah.
And it never lasts that way. So
Yeah.
like you said, now with you being diagnosed that, do they give you certain like antidepressant medications, or how does that work?
So originally I was on antidepressants, and I actually tried a couple
Yeah.
when I was 16, and they worked for a little bit, but you get used to medicine, and they gotta up your dose because you get
Yeah.
immune to the level that you
Right.
started with. So it's like you gotta up your dose. And with antidepressants, antipsychotics, you have to. It's trial and error to find what works for you. And there's a lot of things I didn't understand at that time about those medications, and I didn't like the way. I eventually stopped liking how it made me feel. So I cold turkey stopped taking them.
Yeah.
And you're not supposed to do that.
Right.
And
It's a big withdrawal and that sort,
a
like
big,
suicide
big,
thoughts
yeah,
and all that.
that's when I actually attempted to take my life, which is why it's
Wow.
like I'll say it's not that I'm 100% against medication for
Mental health.
for mental health and mental illnesses, but that was the first thing that doctors threw at me.
Yeah.
So I didn't. That was the only option that I thought there was, and over the years, and especially where I am today, it's like there are very natural ways and things you can do for yourself to balance yourself out. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say that I'm cured. I'm not gonna sit here and say I don't experience manic episodes, but I know when I'm having one. I can identify when I'm in a manic episode, and I can slow myself down.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes my mom tells me, like, growing up, she'd be like, you need to slow down. Like but I can do that myself now. It's like you learn how to better control and take care of yourself with the condition like that.
Yeah, and that kind of like just puts a bad taste in my mouth as far as like the doctor trying to prescribe you with this, and then, all right, that doesn't work, let me give you this. And you're only 16 years old, to where you're not even really understanding. You're just thinking the doctor is going to give you what's best for you, right? But when you really take a look at it, it's an insurance game. It's a money thing, right? When it comes to these medications and that sort of thing, these doctors don't really care. Unless there is holistic doctors out there, there is people that actually really care. But when you look at the big picture of pharma and insurance, you understand the money thing with it. You understand the game, right? And I kind of like think, so there wasn't depression before pharmaceuticals, before they were throwing everybody on medication. What were they doing? How did they deal with life previously, before all these medications and antidepressants and that sort of thing came about, before they were even diagnosed? Because life happens to everybody, whether it's now or 100 years ago or 50 years ago in that matter. So what is it? What were they doing to get themselves out of that funk or out of that rut? And that's what I want to study and focus on more than it just saying, all right, well, you got ADD or you got depression, you're dealing with this, or you're dealing with bipolar. Here goes some medications, and take these, and these. If you don't take them all at the same time, it don't work, and then you just stuck in that matrix alone. So it's like, that's that right there. And then you're trying every day to get off of them. After a while, you realize that they're not helping you. On top of that, they don't even make you feel. It's like you become numb to life, and your emotions is a big part of your life and who you actually are. But when you're on these medications, you can't even feel. It's just you're numb through life, which really isn't a way to live. And there is going to be steps, and there is going to be action that you guys are going to have to take. But I'm telling you, sitting in a room, sitting on your phone, scrolling, watching everybody else live, just in your head, can't control your thoughts, right? This is not going to help you, and you're going to get to the point where you're going to want to give up. So hopefully we can give y'all a few steps of what actually is going to work through our experience. And thank you for sharing that, because that was big for me too. Like I was in a detox center off of something that they prescribed me with Percocets, getting into a bike accident. And now I catch myself years later, it's like I'm trying to shake these joints by my damn self. I'm trying to shake them and not really understanding, yo, I'm in a detox center from the same things that they prescribing every day to people. So I kind of got a bad taste when it comes to the medication side of
and moving from somewhere, because I'm from a city where there's 57 square miles. I moved somewhere where it's 10 times the size. I'm somewhere where it's 556 square miles, I think.
Yeah.
And, you know, the biggest thing that I've realized out here, you know, a lot of people talk about and look down upon how many addicts we have, how many homeless we have. And I mean, honestly, that's city living in general. But when I've come across a few at the gas station. I talk to them, I give them conversation because, I mean, they still human. I still treat them human. And
absolutely.
a lot of them were in the situation you were in. They were in some kind of accident and were prescribed, you know, narcotics or painkillers to, you know, for the pain and for their injuries, and that's how their addiction started. They got addicted to them, and their life kind of just kind of crumbled after that, and they never got the help that they needed. And everybody's different, whether they couldn't get it or whether, you know, they don't yet know that they need the help. But they're not all addicts, or not all people that are addicted are addicted by choice.
Right.
And you know, looking at someone who's addicted, you don't know that, which is why it's so like important that you don't judge them based off of just, you know, how you see them, because they were in an accident that almost cost their life, and they were given the medication that, you know, could have been needed for the time, but some of those medications are so highly addictive.
Very much so.
And people don't realize that until you're in that situation. And, you know, me, I've never, the only narcotic that I've ever been on, and it wasn't something consistent, it was just because it was just one time, but I've been on Xanax. And I was either 15 or 16. This was before I was on like antidepressants and stuff. This is when we were finding out I was having anxiety attacks. I was having real bad chest pains. I would go to the hospital over and over and over again. EKGs and everything come back clean. They were like, you know, one time they were like, you know, do you have anxiety? I'm, what is anxiety? And even then, that, you know, when they explained it to me, I'm like, what do I have to be anxious about? And, you know, that's when it kind of came apparent to me. But they had gave me Xanax, and the chest pains went away, but I didn't remember getting home. Well, I tell you, it was on like a 0.5 milligram, and I'm like, it was a 0.25 milligram. I'm like, bro, I don't even remember, where did I leave? They talking about, we walked you up and down the hallway for an hour. Like, bro, what? I don't remember none of that.
Yeah, I used to pop some of these Xannies. I used to say my eyes turned blue. That's how bad I used to be locked in on like these just pills, and it was just a void that I was always trying to fulfill. It's like my needs wasn't met as a kid, or my necessities wasn't met, so I was trying to replace that with something, whatever that was. Like we label it and we diagnose ourselves with these certain conditions, when really, you know, we gotta rewrite our story and say, you know what? I'm not gonna play victim. I'm not gonna sit here and go to somebody that's not within. It's like, all right, let me start doing some working out. Let me try to work out. Let me try breath work. Let me try to meditate a little bit. Let me try to change my diet up. Let me just go for a walk around the block. Let me just be alone for a little bit. Like, when are we gonna start taking these natural essential things that God gave all of us to be able to like heal ourselves, like, right? You're gonna have to heal yourselves, because if we keep going to these doctor's appointments and keep chasing these medications, I guarantee you it's gonna come a time where them suicidal thoughts is gonna come about. Because these are, you can look on any commercial, they'll tell you, take this for this. But the side effects are stomach virus, COVID, you might die, suicidal thoughts, bad dreams. You like, damn.
I'm like, hold on. I'm taking, and there was literally a commercial I seen the other day. It was like, yes, you take this for depression, but it might heighten your suicidal thoughts. Like, whoa, hold on. Like,
It's
but
like-
y'all don't, like, some people don't understand how real that is. Like, and like, it's crazy because that's why I try my best to stay away from it, man. Like, everything natural that I can do, it's like I've been scared of them ever since. And
Yeah, it put a bad taste in
yeah,
your
it
mouth.
put a real bad taste in my mouth, which is why, like, when I'm speaking to people on the subject, I try to speak for their best interest. So I'm like, I'm not saying, you know, that's not a potential route you can go, but please try these things first. And then if you choose to go the route of medication, make sure the doctor takes the time and you ask them, hey, give me the rundown. What's the proper way to go about taking these medicines? What if I no longer want to take this medication?
Absolutely.
Because I didn't do none of that. I was just one day, nope, I'm done. Like, because it's
Yeah.
like I couldn't take it no more. Like, why I'm not eating, bro. I can't sleep. I can't focus in class. And I already had, like, issues focusing. And it was like, I can't focus more. Like, it was the whole thing. But,
Yeah,
you know,
I just feel like medication is putting a Band-Aid over something that needs surgery. And that's what medication is. So sometimes you might need a quick Band-Aid to just, you know, for a week or two to get off of something, to wean off of it. But you don't want to keep, once you start increasing your dosage, once you start increasing and going that way and not weaning off of
Yeah.
it is when you know it's an issue. And it's like, all right, don't lean in more to the medication. Start leaning into yourself, right? And what are certain things that you do now to stay away from medications and that sort of thing?
and like when we talk about, and I mean, when it comes to medications too, like this is speaking for the not so major mental illnesses, because things like schizophrenia and, you know, I don't know the procedures for that, but if I had to guess, you know, the more severe the mental illness, the more you actually need, you know, something to chemically imbalance that. But that also goes into separating mental illness, true diagnosed mental illness, and people who just experience a mental or a depressive state.
Right.
And that's where a lot of the inflation is coming in at. People who are experiencing depressive states and people who are unknowingly giving themselves anxiety. And that's where I feel like that's where a lot of the like I said, the inflation is coming from.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, there's a lot of things that factor into that.
Yeah, I love that. That's so like I also learned that mental illness, correct me if I'm wrong, but mental illness is like a hereditary thing too. It's like,
So I heard it can be, and so say, you know, a grandmother had schizophrenia, bipolar,
yeah,
that can go to the next generation,
Right.
opposite gender. So
Right.
The grandmother's son, and then that son has a child, happens to be a daughter, can go like it. That's how I heard that it can go. So like mom to son, son to son's daughter, daughter to daughter's son. So like next generation, opposite gender, if that makes sense.
I know a family that has like their mom is really diagnosed with schizophrenia and bipolar, right? And then like seeing her daughter has a schizophrenia and bipolar now, and it's just like is this hereditary or is this learned behavior, learned patterns coming from like just being around mom this whole time and her having schizophrenia and bipolar? I don't really know. I'm not a doctor, to be honest.
I don't know. I kind of wonder about that too. Like,
Yeah, like I don't really know, but I know, you know, once you're aware of it and you really understand, like, yo, something ain't right. If now I want y'all to understand about life is, say we have 7 days in a week. There's 4 days out of that week that I really don't feel like doing a lot, to be honest with you. Like, I don't feel like waking up 4:30 in the morning. I don't feel like going to the gym about 4 or 5 days out of the week, right? There's only about 2 or 3 days that I'm really waking up excited, motivated, right?
Yeah.
So how do you, as far as, but I also understand the importance of me working out and how good I'm going to feel afterwards for not only my physical but my mental health. Or I understand that, you know, me doing my breath work is me being aligned in my spirit and like that sort of thing. I know how the benefits of it. So how do we get away from the emotion? Oh, I don't feel like going to school, or I don't feel like taking this test, or I don't feel like going to go do my chore, or I don't feel like, paying this bill, or I don't feel like going to work, right? We don't feel like doing a lot of stuff, but a lot of the emotional and the depression side comes from the lack of us not taking action, right? And a lot of that mental illness comes from the lack of action and us not keeping our word. There's a book called the Four Agreements, and the first agreement on there is being impeccable with your words. So I say this multiple times. If you say you're going to do something for yourself, you got to make sure you do it. Because the minute you don't, you're going to put yourself in that state of mind of, I'm letting myself down. That starts spiraling into that depression. You start letting yourself down, then another day goes by, then a week goes by, and you start eating whatever. And next thing you know, you just in bed with a gallon of ice cream, crying, let's watching Netflix and scrolling on the internet. It's like, no, there's steps that we can take to keep from fighting from that mental illness. But
you said something about scrolling on the internet, and I feel like that's something that goes into the inflation of the mental health crisis is the social media, and social media is just the umbrella, but social media has so many different points to where it's still leading to the inflation of the mental health crisis, and one of them is comparison. Whether it's body image, finances, relationships, people sit there on their phones all day and scroll and, watching other people's lives. And they're not just watching it and be like, oh, like, this is cool. They're watching it and they're looking at their own lives like, I'm not this. I'm not this. They're getting all the attention, the likes, the love, the shares, all of the spotlight because they're rich, because they're skinnier than me, because they're prettier than me. There's so many different things. Like they have this family, and one of the things is you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. These, some of the influencer couples are only couples and only look good in front of the camera. So you're judging what you're looking at on social media, which social media is fake. Everything on social media is pretty much fake.
And then on top of that, these clips are 15 seconds, 1 minute at tops.
Yeah.
It's like I can be happy in 1 minute. I can make it look really good for a photo, right? It's the illusion. It's like, all right, but what about the 23 other hours and 59 minutes that you did? How do you act then, right? And when I think of the comparison side of it, it's like, for one, it's a facade. It's even with the filters, it's like we put a filter on every picture. Subconsciously, we're assuming and we're expecting that we look like this. So then when we get in real life and we try to take a picture, or somebody takes a regular picture of you, it's, oh, that angle is terrible. Oh, no, that's actually who you are. It's like without a filter, right? And we're getting caught up in this avatar of, I want to be like this, but the authenticity and the realness of you is real life, is this.
Yeah.
So
it's like we get ashamed. It's like people are getting ashamed to be who they really are. And they want to fit into what's popular, what's cool, what's getting the likes, what's getting the shares, the comments. And it's like, why can't you just be yourself? It's like, you got to think about what's being influenced too. Like when it comes to women and how they look, how they look. Beauty is something that everybody has their own definition of. What you find beautiful, I might not find beautiful, and vice versa. So there's not one definition of beauty. So why not just be yourself and have your own definition of beauty? You don't have to have the body surgeries. You can take the gym route, the natural route. You can, if that's what you want to do, cool. But don't let social media be what influences you to go get your body done. Like they see you know, they see all these women getting their body done, which is cool. Like if that's what you want to do, with you know, but don't let that influence you to go get your body done. When first of all, there's nothing wrong with your body. You know, there's a lot of things that people see on social media that they intake, and it builds insecurities. And you know, those insecurities they fester and they turn into a depressive state of mind. I'm not this. I don't look like this, so I don't look good.
Yeah.
You know, and or they have this and this and this at 20, and I'm 23, and I don't have this, so I must not be.
Right.
My worth must not be there. I must not be meant for more. There's a lot of things that go into the comparison side, like especially with relationships. You know, there's a lot of promotion of toxic relationships and relationships that you know involve that seems like approve of like cheating. They normalize cheating and normalize all these things. They see, and people see that on social media, and they're like, "Oh, that's the right way to go. This is how you have a long-term relationship."
And you want to know what's so funny about that is like, we really think that we control our algorithm.
Yeah.
Like what we see is what they want us to feed. What they want us to feed our minds. Like they know what age they broke us down in data with us knowing. Like that's why sometimes we be like, "Yo, was the phone listening to me?" And then you'll get a pop up or something, right? An ad that'll be the same thing that you don't even gotta say it. You can be thinking it. They mastered us so much that they can think what we're thinking about before we even think it.
It's crazy. That algorithm is dangerous. You get on TikTok and be like, how TikTok know what situation I'm going through? So you think
they're gonna feed us with empowering of a woman or empowering your family, a mother keeping a family household together. They sit there and tell you, no, man is right. It's the masculinity, toxic masculinity. It's feminism. It's this. It's a boy. No, it's a girl. No, it's not binary. No, I'm rich. No, you're poor. It's like we're fighting the wrong battles. We're like the crabs in the bucket fighting each other, not even understanding the person who put us in the bucket in the first place is what we need to be going after.
Yeah,
right. Like when are we going to look at the bigger picture of things?
The craziest like comparison that I've seen on social media, like, is like the one, and I mean there's both sides to this, but you know there's a man is supposed to be this. No, a man is supposed to be that. A man and you know a relationship is supposed to be like this. A woman is supposed to be like that. And it's like that just shows you like everybody has a different perspective. Everybody has a different, you know, I expect this from my man or woman. I expect this out of my relationship. I expect our relationship to be like this. But it's like you get people look at so many of those, they forget what they themselves expect from a man or a woman or want for their relationship. And I feel like that's another thing that's just messing up, you know.
You know, that's a whole nother topic that we can get into as far as relationship. Y'all gotta stay tuned for that one, but. Yeah, it's real, like, the mental illness. I know what really kept me from, like, falling into that, like, that trap of, like, mental health. Because my mental health be kicking my butt, right? And the sad part about it with me is I went to jail so young that I became numb as I was dealing with a lot of my like mental health. And it's like I couldn't even talk to mom certain times. Like you have to put a request slip in, and the doctor don't care too. They got a bunch of other inmates to see. So it's like as I was dealing with my mental health, it was me and my thoughts, right? And I was sitting in my cell one time, and I'm like, I had an OG that was from my neighborhood. I had celled up with him. I'm like, OG, I can't stop thinking, man. Like I'm stressing. Like this is, I'm in my head. He said, good, man. He said, good, keep thinking. He said, keep thinking. I'm like, dang, what you mean keep thinking, right? And at that was like my turning point to realizing like, yo, once you can be okay with yourself and not be so distracted with social media, not be so distracted in a relationship, that's why God isolates us sometimes. That's why God, makes you, all right, it's just me and you. Every time I stray away, he ends up snatching everything. Like, all right, it's just me and you again, tighten up. But when you can start to like control them thoughts, and how I control them is I don't attach myself to my thoughts, right? I'm the observer of that voice in my head, but that's not actually who I am, right? So I take myself away from the emotion. This might sound crazy to some of y'all, but when you can take yourself out of your thoughts and realize that that's not even who you are, right? That's just a part of you. It's kind of like you're 3 in 1. You're your mind, you're your body, and your spirit, right? Your mind goes. Your mind is like your gun, right? A mind can be dangerous depending on whose hands it's in, right? It can feed a family. A gun could kill, prey or an animal to feed their family, right? But a gun can also kill a whole parade of people.
Yeah,
right?
That's facts.
So it's not the gun that's bad. It's not the mind that's bad. It's the spirit and the body that's holding it, right? And this is why you can't get so attached to your thoughts or to that gun, right? You got to take care of the body. You got to take care of the body. You got to take care of the spirit. It's all one. It's all full circle. And a lot of mental health is because we don't have that full circle experience. So we'll either lean into a religion or spirituality, but forget about our body, right? Or we'll read all these books and forget about our spirit or our minds, right? Or our bodies. So it's diet. It is feeding your spirit. It is feeding your mind with reading books. It is doing breath work. It is drinking water. It is getting sunlight. There really isn't just one answer to mental illness. It's a full spectrum that we're not doing, and we're wondering why we're in this state of mind that we're in.
Sunlight I never realized how important, that vitamin D is.
Very important, especially if you got melanin in you.
Man, and I'm somebody who used to love, if the house had a basement, I was sleeping in the basement.
Yeah.
But like you said, you spoke on isolation. Isolation is real uncomfortable, especially if you're somebody who has not yet mastered being alone. And isolation at first is rocky, but honestly, what you get out of your isolation era of life is on you, because it's about what you do in that period of isolation. Some people some people put themselves in isolation because all they do is scroll on their phone all day, scroll on social media. They're living more of their life on social media than they are in real life. And like I said, it's all about what you do in that isolation area of your life. Are you learning and accepting to be by yourself? Are you doing things to better yourself in that era, or are you doing things to either keep you where you're at, or further you from where you really could be, your potential? And I'm somebody who used to over isolate. Isolation was my way of coping. And sometimes it still is. It just kind of depends. Like, I'm just somebody who likes to, deal with things on my own. But it's not even that I just isolate like I used to, where I don't really attend to my problems. That's where I take the time to care for my problems and deal with, the things, and really do a deep self-reflection, a deep dive, like, into things. And that's just... some people get into isolation and they refuse it so bad. Like, they, you feel like this is your isolation area. God's isolating you, and they fight it. So they allow people around them that are negative for them, just so they have people, just so they can say they have somebody, so they're not alone. And I feel like we can't fight that isolation period of our life. We all need it. We all need to be cleansed from, the things, the energies and the ways that that we experienced as a child. We need to be cleansed of all toxic energy, all bad energy, all negative energy, to truly find us, build our positivity, so that when you encounter somebody, this is not an energy I need to be by. I need to keep my energy.
Yeah, and that, and with me, I could be around a million man march and feel isolated.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be drowning by myself and be around a bunch of people and nobody could tell. So that's another sign of like I don't go AWOL. Yeah, I might not answer my phone and that sort of thing, but when I'm around people, I'm giving them. I'm giving. You know, I'm smiling. I'm making. I learned. I don't know if it's because I'm Aquarius, but I learned I can dictate the volume or the temperature of the room. Like any room I'm in,
I can read the room.
Yeah, it's like all right. So I kind of like, as a barber, I kind of like try to keep it positive as much as possible. But for real, sometimes I catch myself isolating. I'll be like, damn, I'm drowning for real. I'm not okay. But I don't want to say it because you don't want to feel weak, especially as a man. It's like, don't cry, like you good. It's like, no, yo, there's somebody out there that can hold that space for you. But let that out. You got to get that energy out. Isolation is okay sometimes. Like I was forced to be isolated going to prison, but isolation can also make you lean more into that thought if you don't know how to control it, right?
There's a definite negative side because, like I said, isolating yourself, over isolating yourself, that can build anxiety, and
Absolutely.
because you build a what's it called, where you don't really like a social anxiety because you're so isolated. You get around people and your social anxiety is so much more high, and you feel like you can't be around people like that no more.
I got PTSD.
It's because you're desocializing yourself too, like, and that's enough. I mean, I've experienced that too. Like, I had to I'm still taking baby steps in that. Like, I'm not a social butterfly like I used to be.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's you learn how to use isolation to your benefit rather than as something that can hinder you. And that's something that if you want to learn, like you gotta utilize that isolation period.
Man, and that's real because I remember being in a hole doing 90 days. Like I was in a hole for 90 days straight. That's 3 months being isolated. You don't even know what time of the day it is. You counting the time off of the meals and the trays you get back there. Like you don't know if it's light out, dark out. You don't know what's really going on. So that was like, and these are 90-day stretches, right? So the first 2 years I was in and out the hole, not really understanding, but I had to really you just sit in your bunk sometimes and you just in your thoughts. It's just you and your thoughts, right? Man, there's some nights I might have lost that war. There's some nights we broke even. There's times I kicked his butt, but it's gonna be just experiencing who you are, experiencing your triggers. It's so crazy now because it's like as when you're young and you're a teenager, you trying so hard to be an adult, right? And as you become an adult, you try so hard to go back to that younger you. It's like yo, the youngins are trying to be old and the olds are trying to be young again. So it's like, yo, be present, figure out, be okay with yourself. Like, I know a lot of people can't even go to sleep without a TV on because they don't want to sit in their head for that 5-10 minutes before they go to bed.
Yeah.
It's like they gotta be distracted with something, and it's like you never gonna sit with yourself. You're gonna be 60, 70 years old because you never was okay with sitting with yourself and really figuring out. You gotta sit with yourself
to find yourself.
That's it.
You can't get that from other people, and I say something that also leads to that inflation, and I call it chasing the 3 A's, and the first one is acceptance and approval, and that usually comes from fear of rejection and being rejected in the past. The second one is apologies. You want people so bad to see what they did. You want somebody to see that what they did to you is so bad, and you want them to see the wrong and apologize for it so that you can get over it. Sometimes you gotta forgive for yourself, not even for them, for yourself, so that you can move on, because you carry that. I held on to something for 20 years. I'm carrying that weight with me, and I hit the point where I was like, I gotta forgive for myself because I'm never getting that apology, man. Some people will never apologize. They will never see what they did wrong, so therefore you're never gonna get that apology. Absolutely. So you're gonna chase it until you die, and you can't do that. And then the last one is acknowledgement. People chase acknowledgement because for me, I felt unseen and unheard. I was doing things. I was building a life trying to get acknowledgement. I went to college for acknowledgement, knowing that was not what I wanted to do. And that was when I realized that that's what I was doing. I was building a life that was against my purpose, you know, what I actually wanted to do and the things I wanted to pursue. And that was just to get acknowledgement, to be seen for once as, you know, somebody that nobody else did it. I would have been the one person to walk across that stage with a diploma, but you know, that's living the wrong way. That's going down a route that you're not destined to go down. It's not that you can't, it's just you know when you're destined to be going a certain path in life versus when you're not. And that period of my life, it really showed me, like, it broke the need to be acknowledged, man. Like the need to build my life to be acknowledged, to be seen, to be heard. The right people are gonna see you. The right people are gonna hear you. The people that are supposed to be around you are going to. If somebody hurts you and it don't hurt them, they gotta go. Cause the people that love you aren't supposed to be around you. If they hurt you, you're gonna be able to go to them, because they want to fix that, you know. And as far as acceptance and approval, you got to be where you're accepted and approved of. You can't make yourself this image to fit into what's going to be approved and accepted here, you know?
Can I add an A to it, though?
What's an A?
Another A is the law of allowance, right?
That's allowance. 4A, that's a good one. I didn't even think.
The reason why I say the law of allowance is allowing yourself time, right? Allowing yourself time for things to play out. Allowing yourself the space to be able to deal with these emotions, right? We have to allow ourselves to forgive, right? So the law of awareness, the law of allowance, we have to start figuring out, you know, once you're aware of it, you can allow yourself time to process it, time to heal from it. You can allow yourself, you know, things to play out the way they need to, but give yourself grace and understand that, you know, it's a journey, right? It's a journey. And if something's bothering you, figure out what's that trigger. Let's start allowing ourselves to go within. We're never going to figure it out externally. It's not in a pill. It's not in a phone. It's not on a video game. It's not, you know, in a relationship, a boy or girl. Everything is within. So start allowing yourself to have grace on yourself, loving yourself, and understand, like, yo, it's a journey. You know, I love y'all. It's gonna get greater later. I say all the time, yeah. So yeah. I
mean, and you can dig deeper into the allowance side, because now that you said it, it's like things I've told myself. You know, like, and I'll use myself as an example. You know, I've been hurt a lot. You know, friendships, relationships, family members. It's hard for me to allow myself to accept real, genuine love. I have really bad trust issues, a lot of broken promises in my childhood, so it's really hard for me to allow myself to trust, allow myself to learn the good side of things, because I know the bad side. It's like I expect more, the bad to come, because that's what I've allowed more of. I've accepted that.
That's a whole nother topic, huh? Man. Yo,
allowing yourself is like unlocking the good side of life. You gotta, man, look, the four A's. That's what we're going with now.
We just added one.
That's gonna be a topic. The 4 A's.
The 4 A's.
We can't even talk about it no more, man.
The 4 A's we gonna get into. We gonna keep breaking it down, man. Hopefully y'all know y'all like what y'all hearing. I need y'all right now, guys. We are building our family. We are building our channel. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Please share to somebody that you may know. We all know somebody that's dealing with mental illness, and especially after COVID, it's been at an all-time high. So I'm gonna need y'all right now. I mean, right now, not later. Right now, hit that bell, subscribe, comment, share. Yeah, y'all already know.
Hit that like button too. Comment as well. That helps a lot too.
Yes, and this is, you know, episode 4, the inflation of mental illness, and you know the fun facts that, not even fun. I don't like to say fun facts. The facts that come with the reality of mental illness. So yeah, It's Car, Broken Baby Podcast.
And this and they.
The CEO herself. Y'all know what it is. I love y'all. I'll see y'all later. Next episode. Like we said, don't forget to share. And, see y'all on the next one.
It's love.
Hold up. Stop what y'all doing right now. I need y'all to go grab an uncle, go grab a nephew, grab a brother, grab a sister. Look, I need y'all right now to share this. Look, this is not only a podcast. This is not only a clothing wear. This right here is a movement. A movement that I promise you want to be a part of, y'all. So right now, tap in with us. It's going down, Broken Baby Podcast. The movement, the one and only movement where we talk about mental health, we talk about addiction, we talk about overcoming. Like we say all the time, it's not what you go through, it's what you grow through. So look, tap in with us. Y'all know the vibes. It's your boy Car. I'll see y'all at the top. We out.